Okay, we're back with another Dragon Champions video. Just had a patch go through this afternoon, and with that patch they introduced a new character. So just kind of first reactions to this, let's take a look and see. It's Selena. Selena is a order, human, healer, and a traveler. Just to give you an idea what other travelers there are, that's Nightingale, Rantha, Fow, Xantara, Punchface, Hardock. So really strong group of travelers, but some of the stronger characters I have yet to unlock and are more either legendary or kind of whale type unlocks in terms of hard work. But let's look at Selena here. Where can you find her? She is farmable very easily or early on in the game. So let's just auto this, and there, I've got 2. So I don't anticipate I'm going to spend any Dracoins to get her quicker, but if I'm getting anywhere between 1 to 3 a day, this is by the better part of the next couple of weeks, I should unlock her, assuming I want to use energy to do that. Let's look at her kind of her abilities here. So her basic, maxed out, 200% magic damage, 70% chance to inflict tenacity decrease. Again, tenacity, for those that are not aware, if you look at the complete game description, affects the chance to resist combat effects from enemies. So you're going to see a lot of characters such as Tromgar be runed up for tenacity. The tanks, you want to try to avoid getting debuffs, so a lot of people will rune up for tenacity. So a nice little bonus on her basic there to try to get a tenacity decrease for 2 turns. She has a single target heal. Colossal healing heals the target ally 280% of magic damage and an extra 20% of her maximum health. So not bad. Pretty good for a single target, but again, she is, as a healer, it's good to see a lot of her abilities are just purely heal centric. Some of her other healers have a lot of actually damage abilities as opposed to healing. This is her AoE heal. Heals all allies by 400% of her magic damage. If they are afflicted by debuffs, applies 2 random opposite buffs for the same duration. If I'm reading this or interpreting this correctly, if you have to figure out what the opposite buff is, but I would imagine if there's something like a damage decrease, the opposite buff would be a damage increase, and you would apply it for the same duration that your debuffs are currently on. This is really interesting. I'd have to do some digging as to what the quote-unquote opposite buff would be, especially because it says applies to random opposite buffs. Does that mean that if I'm only afflicted by 1 debuff, it automatically applies the opposite buff? I don't know. I'll have to do some research there. But this could be potentially powerful given certain raids, especially if it counts towards the debuffs that the bosses afflict on you, such as the pain debuffs that amplify damage that's given out to you. And then lastly, she has a passive, copies 2 random buffs from an enemy at the end of the turn and applies them to random allies for the same duration. Again, pretty interesting. Now, does that mean it transfers taunts? I don't know. If it does, and it's random, I don't know if you want that. maybe you do, maybe you don't, but if you are copying a taunt from an enemy and then applying it to your allies, you may get undesirable effects of that. However, if it's not taunts, anytime you can apply buffs to your allies, that's a bonus. So the one thing I like about what they're trying to do here is they're giving you an option in the human faction for healers if you pretty much don't have Soleus. So I get it because there's an event, a Mordoom event coming up in 5 days, and a lot of beginners are probably, or people just starting the game are wondering, how am I supposed to compete in that event or even try to gain more Doom shards? Let's just say I don't have Soleus. I'm running out of team without a healer. So maybe that's what they did. I have no idea if this was planned. I'm not really up on the forums, but that's one incentive, I guess. But the problem is I don't know how you're unlocking her in 5 days. So kind of a moot point there, maybe. So I like that her normal attacks have some added little wrinkles, like tenacity decreases, or some of the things like reversing buffs. What I don't like about this is you're not in control because they are randomized for both her passive and her mass AoE heal. It lowers, in my opinion, her viability in some of the game modes. I'm sure at some point somebody will make a team with her to really exploit some of this randomness, as I've seen in other games, which rely on kind of random number generator, which is nice. A little gimmicky though, but hey, maybe I will be proven wrong. I personally don't see myself finding a use for her currently, mainly because I have a healer in Soleus, but I imagine if you were just starting out, she is relatively easy to farm once you get to stage 5. That, hey, because you don't have access to Soleus, it's a good option. So with that, what I would say is good option for people that are starting out or missed out on Soleus. I think for more advanced players, you're not really going to be utilizing Selena. So that's kind of my quick reaction or review of Selena. Please comment below, like the video, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks.